British parents who've got pretty good, reasonably well-paid jobs...
Talking of salaries.
Absolutely. Are being forced to live in tents. As there's nowhere that they can afford to rent, let alone buy, and councils have no homes for them.
So, problem of lack of availability, a problem of lack of affordability. And an ITV News investigation met one couple who've spent 7 weeks living in someone else's back garden while their children are kind of sofa surfing, staying with friends.
Nearly everything we asked for help for, it was, are you on benefits? No, we both work. Well, we can't help you. So it's like, what's the point in working? It's demoralising.
Even with the children, they're still not helping us. Like, they expect the children to be in this situation. It's just a mess, really, isn't it? And it's like there's nothing we can do.
And here we are in 2023. Extraordinary, isn't it? ITV Investigations correspondent Daniel Hewitt, who has spent time with these families, is joining us now. We didn't suspect this. I mean, yes, we know we have a major problem with homelessness, people sleeping on the streets and all the rest of it, but we always assume that those people are on benefits, or maybe not even on benefits. These are hard-working, working-class people who haven't got a home.
It's the collapse, Richard, of the housing market for low-income families. We've often talked about the working poor. In parts of the country now, we're seeing the working homeless, having a job, bringing in income, doing the right thing. I mean, what would the government say to Ian and Teresa?
On your bike,
go and get a job. They've got one. Teresa works long hours as a care assistant. Ian works as a truck driver for the council. And they can't find anywhere. What we're seeing here is this toxic combination of years and years and years of not building enough houses is now colliding with the kind of contemporary problem of high interest rates pushing up the price of rent, which is pushing up competition. Landlords are getting out of the market because some cases they don't want to pay those high mortgage rates. And those tenants who are now, maybe 5 years ago, 2 years ago, would have gone to the council or found somewhere more affordable, are now being told there's either no houses for you, or if they even can afford the rent, because some of the people we've met can afford rent, what they can't afford is a 6 months deposit up front. They can't have a guarantor earning £50,000 a year. And in parts of the country now, you will find, not just in London, but other cities, you will find hotels, travel lodges, budget hotels, full of families who are working. I have met them, who are saying, I actually earn a wage. I probably could afford to rent just about. What I can't afford is 6 months deposit up front. And so you have all these problems coming together right at the same time, causing these kind of issues.
And this is brand new, isn't it? I mean, this is a new social phenomenon. We've not been here before.
It feels new, and it feels like the net, the housing crisis kind of casts a net and it catches people. It feels like the net is just getting wider and wider and wider. And so you have a situation now where a new study which features in our investigation tonight by Crisis finds 250,000 households, many of them with children, are experiencing core homelessness. So rough sleeping, sofa surfing, living in hotels, living in bed and breakfast. And what councils say is they have a legal obligation, duty to house these people, but they can't afford to keep paying for hotels every night.
Is there any way of knowing how many couples... Sorry, Kate, how many couples are sleeping in tents? I mean, that's not an isolated example, is it?
It's incredibly hard to quantify. This study by Crisis finds 242,000 families experiencing core homelessness. That includes things like rough sleeping. I'd like to say that what you're seeing there is an extreme example, but I've met countless families now who are homeless and don't know what to do. And what you have right now, and we spent some time in Enfield in North London, you have the council there who are saying they've seen the number of landlords, private landlords providing affordable housing almost half in the last year. The number of people coming to them for help has doubled. They're spending £20 million extra just this year on temporary accommodation. That is not sustainable. So what they're then doing is saying to their tenants, sorry, Kate, they're saying to their tenants, we're going to have to move you out of Enfield, out of London, to the north of England. That's the only way we're going to find you accommodation.
Which then, of course, means they can't work. So, you know, and you can see how, by the way, that, you know, we know that landlords, you know, that have individual houses that they rent out because of mortgage rates going up, are selling their properties because they can't afford the mortgage, because the rent no longer covers it. So you can see how that spiral is impacted. But just to be clear, we're talking... Because we're all horrified, aren't we, when we see poor souls sleeping on the streets? And, you know, we wonder, and very often it can be drug-related or mental health issues, or there can be a whole variety. We're talking about families where one or two parents are in jobs, so they're getting up out of a tent with their kids, going in to do a job and going home because there is no alternative.
That's right. And what this report by Crisis and Hewitt University is called the Homelessness Monitor, they do it every couple of years. What they found is a 76% increase in two-parent families now experiencing homelessness. You're right. The majority of homelessness, rough sleeping, is often, sadly, it's often experienced by single men. That's starting to change. And a lot of the legislation has been geared towards single men. Actually, what's happening now is that those numbers are improving, but the numbers for working families is, in fact, getting worse.
And, of course, it doesn't make the single men sleeping rough any better, but it just indicates that we are in a total,
just don't expect to see
crisis.
So what time are we going to see this report tonight?
7 p.m. on ITV News tonight.
7 p.m. ITV News. Look forward to... How long will it run? About 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing it.
Thanks.
Look,